can't be alive in no time. But now, it's just another shot to the heart. It's just a short shot in the dark. It's just another place in the stars. Wonders on every side. Life in marvelous time. Life in marvelous time.
Hello, my name is Assata Shakur. I'm the founder of New Possibility blog. And today I'm going to talk about Assata Shakur. I was on Twitter the other day and I saw a link to a video. And in that video, an FBI agent explains why the FBI decided to list Assata Shakur as one of the most wanted terrorists. Now, I frankly think that it's an outrage that Assata Shakur would be listed as a terrorist. For those of you who don't understand the history or aren't familiar with Assata Shakur, she was a member of the Black Panther Party in the 60s. And later on, she became a part of an organization called the Black Liberation Army. Now, that organization had been accused of several things, such as robbing banks. And at one point, there was a shootout between members of the Black Liberation Army and the New Jersey State Police. And at the end of the incident, one New Jersey State police officer was killed. And consequently, Assata Shakur was charged and convicted of murdering that New Jersey State police officer. Now, there's has been some dispute. She continues to profess that she is innocent. And in light of the history at that time, I would question whether or not the case was, if she was guilty or not as well, because this case and this incident occurred within a broader context of counterintelligence. During the 1960s and even earlier, the United States had a program called the Counterintelligence Program. And under this program, the United States essentially declared war on Black organizations. It declared war on organizations such as the Nation of Islam, the Black Panther Party, SNCC, which stands for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, the Republic of New Africa, and a host of other organizations, even well-known, respected civil rights organizations such as the Southern Leadership Conference. The United States had a massive surveillance program. And in addition to monitoring these organizations, the United States actually waged all-out war against these organizations. They tried to neutralize these organizations through inventing and conjuring up bogus charges to stifle these organizations, to imprison their leaders and discredit their leaders. In addition to locking them up on fake charges, the United States actually helped fuel conflict between these organizations. They had these organizations fighting each other, and in some instances, actually killing each other. In addition to promoting division and strife among these organizations, the FBI actually helped assassinate leaders of these organizations. Leaders such as Martin Luther King Jr., leaders such as Malcolm X were assassinated by the United States government. Leaders like Fred Hampton were gunned down in the middle of the night. Their house, in the case of Fred Hampton, his house was invaded by police. They gunned him down like he was an animal. They killed Mark Clark, another member of the Black Panther organization. They attacked the police and the FBI. They actually raided Black Panther headquarters all around the country, shot those headquarters up. They actually thought that the Black Panther Party was the greatest threat to the United States national security. So they treated the Black Panther Party as if it was some kind of enemy organization as if it was an invading army or such. So they actually attacked Panther offices and killed Black Panthers, shot up these offices, shot down the leaders. So they actually declared war on these leaders, and the ones that they didn't kill, they locked up on trumped up, made up charges. And at that time, the police were the terrorists. It wasn't the Black Panther Party that was the terrorists. They were defending themselves from police brutality. In fact, that was one of the points in their 10-point program, to end police brutality. Because at that time, the police could round up Black men for no reason. They could brutalize Black people with impunity. They could gun down a Black man and get away with it. And some of that violence still continues today, but it is not at the same level that it was back then. Police regularly brutalized Black people. They regularly harassed Black people, and they regularly killed Black people like animals. So it was the police who were the terrorists, the police who gunned down our leaders, the police who brutalized our people at that time. And organizations such as the Black Panther Party were standing up to that brutality by defending themselves. And everybody knows that we have a legal right to defend ourselves, and we have a God-given right to defend ourselves. So the Black Panthers and people like Assata Shakur, they are heroes in my eyes, and they are heroes in many of our people's eyes. They were the modern day freedom fighters. They were people like Assata Shakur. She's a modern day Harriet Tubman, a real life Nat Turner, a real life Django. She was fighting against oppression. She was fighting against police terrorism. She is not a terrorist. And frankly, the United States government should grant her amnesty. They should free all political prisoners in the United States because of the crimes against humanity that the United States government committed. In fact, the United States government and the people that were responsible for Jim Crow and the counterintelligence program, those are the people that should be locked up, not Assata Shakur. She is a modern day runaway slave because prisons are nothing but modern day plantations. And a prison where somebody's locked up for just for their political beliefs, where they're locked up for defending themselves, that is akin to slavery. And so I don't condemn Assata Shakur. I celebrate Assata Shakur. And we should stand up and demand that the United States keep their hands off Assata Shakur. We should demand that the president grant Assata Shakur amnesty. Also, I wanted to further elaborate as to why, I say that she is not a terrorist. We have to understand that the term terrorist is a political term. They don't use that term when the police gun down innocent people in the street. They didn't use that term terrorist when the police shot up Sean Bell in New York City. They didn't use the term terrorist when the police gunned down Diallo in New York City. They didn't use the term terrorist when the police brutalized Rodney King, when they beat him over and over again with nightsticks. They didn't use the term terrorist when the police rammed a plunger up Abner Louima's anus. They didn't use that term back then. They didn't use the term terrorist when the police beat and hosed down Black people for protesting for their basic civil rights, like their right to vote, their right to eat where they please, their right not to be segregated and humiliated. They didn't use that term back then. They didn't use the term terrorist to describe the police's actions. They didn't use the term terrorist when the police invaded Fred Hampton's house in the middle of the night and shot him down like an animal. They didn't use that term terrorist then. They don't use the term terrorist when the United States bombs countries abroad. They don't use the term terrorist when the bombs fall from the drone planes and the bombs rip apart the babies and the children. They don't use the term terrorist then. They don't use the term terrorist when the Israelis bulldoze over houses, when the Israelis drop bombs on the Palestinian people. They don't use the word terrorist then. The word terrorist is a political term. We must never forget that. When they call Assata Shakur a terrorist, they are manipulating words to promote propaganda. She is not a terrorist. She has not been engaged in any so-called acts of terrorism. And it is an outrage that we would allow the United States government to label her as a terrorist. Again, hands off Assata. Free all political prisoners.
Can't be alive in no time, but now it's just another shot to the heart. It's just a short shot in the dark. It's just another place in the stars. Wonders on every side. Life in marvelous time. Life in marvelous time.